Hello everyone, and today we'll be presenting about our research project, The Rise of China and the US-China Rivalry. And this presentation explored the key dynamics of the growing rivalry between the United States and China through international relations theory and evidence. So, what is China? Let's begin with a brief overview of China. Geographically, China is in East Asia and borders 14 countries, making it highly strategic. Its landscape includes mountains, deserts, and long coastlines along the Pacific Ocean. And politically, China is a one-party authoritarian state led by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. President Xi Jinping holds the country's top three leadership roles, centralizing power. And economically, China has the second largest GDP globally and is shifting from manufacturing toward high-tech industries and domestic consumption. And the China GDP in 2024 is 17.5 trillion US dollars. So what is the issue? And the core issue is the strategic competition between the United States and China. And as China rises as a global power, it increasingly challenges US dominance across trade, technology, military influence, and global governance. And China is building its own set of international institutions and frameworks to reshape the global order in its favor. For example, the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, invests in infrastructure across Asia, Africa, and Europe to expand China's global reach. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, is another tool China uses. It's a multilateral development bank led by China that offers financing to countries outside the Western-led IMF or World Bank. Similarly, BRICS serves as an alternative economic alliance that challenges Western institutions, although its internal unity and long-term impact remain uncertain. Altogether, these moves reflect China's broader ambition to provide alternatives to the US-led international system and extend its influence worldwide. So, why is this issue important to study? This issue is significant for three main reasons. First, it marks a shift from a unipolar world dominated by the US to a potentially multipolar order. Alliances like NATO and ASEAN may be affected. And secondly, the economic implications. And the economic conflict, including trade wars and tariffs, has disrupted global supply chains. Countries like Myanmar face challenges balancing Chinese investments and Western pressure. Thirdly, the regional stability. The Taiwan Strait and South China Sea are flashpoints where military tensions could escalate, destabilizing the entire Asia-Pacific region, and smaller nations must balance these ties. And these are the key concepts we need to know. To better understand the issue, I will explain it, these five terms. Hegemony is when one state dominates others politically, economically, or militarily. The Thucydides trap suggests that when a rising power threatens a ruling power, war became unlikely. Decoupling refers to efforts by both the United States and China to reduce economic dependence in key sectors. The Belt and Road Initiative, The BRI is China's global infrastructure project connecting Asia, Africa, and Europe. The Indo-Pacific strategy is the United States policy aimed at maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific region.
Now that we have covered the key term, let's look at how this strategic competition is affecting China internally. Domestically, the US-China rivalry has had two major impacts on China. First, it has increased nationalism. The Chinese government uses anti-Western narrative to build unity and justify centralized control. Second, it has driven economic restructuring. China is heavily investing in advanced technologies like AI, green energy, and aviation. A good example is the launch of the COMAC C919 passenger jet, which reflects China's goal of achieving technological self-sufficiency. Let's continue with another important aspect, China's domestic responses to this competition. In response to the rivalry, China has launched major domestic strategies. The most prominent is Made in China 2025, which aim to dominate future tech industries. The government is giving subsidies to key sectors, promoting domestic innovation, and reducing reliance on foreign imports, especially in areas like semiconductor and defense-related technologies. While China's domestic responses are significant, this rivalry is also reshaping the global landscape. On the global stage, this competition is creating serious disruption. First, economic uncertainty is rising. Trade war and sanctions have destabilized industry like semiconductor and pharmaceuticals, forcing many countries to adapt. Secondly, the risk of conflict in Asia has increased. Both China and US have expanded their military presence near the Taiwan and the South China Sea, leading to a potential arms race and diplomatic strain. To address these challenges, several international and regional actors have stepped in. To address these challenges, several global actors are stepping in. International organizations like the G20 Asia and the WTO are working to reduce tensions and mediate disputes. At the same time, regional powers such as Japan, India, and South Korea are promoting diplomacy to maintain peace and preserve their own strategic autonomy. Despite deep division, military engagement remains a key tool to manage US-China competition. Finally, let's finish with a brief summary and a look at the future. If current trends continue, we could see a more polarized world within the 5 to 10 next year. China is likely to continue advancing in technology, green energy, and global leadership. Meanwhile, the US will work to maintain its position. To prevent open conflict, both sides need to prioritize diplomatic engagement, mutual respect, and military cooperation. The future will depend on how well they manage competition while avoiding the right confrontation. Before I end, here are the key references I use in my research. Thanks for listening.